The Office has had some monumental season finales. Casino Night, The Job.
Are you free for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Then it's a date.
Goodbye, Toby. And then The Whistleblower.
Whoever it was who talked to the press, just come forward, please.
Speak.
We are issuing a full recall of all Sabre GH400 printers.
So I'm not gonna say this is a bad episode of The Office. There's a ton to explore. But a good finale? Well, let's talk about that too. My name's Chris and I'm reviewing every episode of The Office ever, and today we're looking at Whistleblower.
Warning! Warning! Warning!
I understand nothing.
I think that the real question is, who is the whistleblower?
Okay, whistleblowing. Blowing whistles.
Whistleblower.
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 We cannot let the pedophile win again.
Got it, okay. The cold opening picks up in what feels like the very next day, or maybe 2 days after this moment.
I vow to never listen to my bodily instincts ever again.
I'm talking about the Sabre printers that catch on fire.
What's going on?
I love the film industry, especially the depiction of technology, which often is so far-fetched and weird, but this little news site is actually accurate for 2010 when local news agencies were trying to create these little hubs. I especially love the .biz.
Hey, Carol, how goes the real estate biz? Is it real good?
Which leads us to
Woof.
And we finally get an explanation of Rye Guy's transformation over the last year. He's not just becoming a hipster, he's blossoming into a hipster variant known as the tech startup hipster.
Woof.
Wolf.com.
And I love it as much now as I did back then. It's a perfect idea for an elder millennial or a young Gen Xer, whatever he's supposed to be, or I'm supposed to be, whatever. Their ability to transform into whatever they want to is iconic for that generation. He was a Scranton guy who got a temp job. He's converted to a junior employee.
Ryan Howard is a junior sales associate at a mid-range paper supply firm.
Promoted to junior executive. Fired because there was more feathers than chicken.
Where I'm from, there are two types of folk. Those who ain't, and those who are knee-high on a grasshopper. Which type ain't you ain't? Y'all come back now.
Gets back into the corporate world. Bottomed out as a bleached blonde.
This is from The Sun.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Shut up about the sun! Shut up about the sun!
And now he's fulfilled his destiny as a Silicon Valley-esque rising star. And Chris's opinion, the idea for Wolf is, well, it's about as stupid now as it was back then.
It's actually a really great idea, and I can't believe it didn't exist before.
But I'm sure the idea of crowdsourcing taxi services and lodging were equally crazy ideas before these guys came around to create the biggest transformation provider in the world without owning any cars, and these guys created the biggest hospitality company in the US without owning any property at all. So, you know, sure, why not Wolf? There actually already was a thing called Ping FM back in the day that did the exact same thing, so there's that. But I'm just saying that sometimes you have to, you know, deal with some duds before you can make your suck it.
I'm here to talk about Suck It. Suck it.
And all this talk of technology, we have this great moment.
Wait, are they searching all our computers?
Yeah.
I already got to yours, Kev.
No, that's cool. Sometimes I run. I'm a runner.
All the stress that could have been avoided if Kevin was using Myth VPN, who's so kind to sponsor this video. VPNs are where you can do anything you want to for all your nefarious online activity and not get in trouble for it. I think that's how those things work.
No, it does not.
Right, okay, so let's talk about Nick, the IT guy. In my headcanon, Nick, while only appearing in like 8 episodes this season, has been trying to be one of the guys.
Otherwise, the baby's gonna become a teenager in there and you'll be up all night from the rock music.
Shut up, Nick. God. A weird thing to say. Weird IT nerd.
And maybe the doc crew just didn't air it or didn't film it. I do think what's happening with Nick is the same thing I thought was happening with Aaron back in season 5, where the show is just kind of vetting out, do we want to keep this character around?
I get it, people. I'm the lame IT guy and everybody hates me.
So in my head canon, this outburst feels complete.
You're not a photographer, and you definitely can't fit into a size 2. Daryl, man, you're on Facebook. Why you been telling people you're not on Facebook? People want to be your friend, man.
And without it, it feels as though it's written just to seal in who the whistleblower was.
This guy's the snitch. He's the snitch. So, that's it. Check it out.
We're gonna believe that guy?
Otherwise, it just feels like it was written for us. And that's because it kind of comes out of the blue. Because if you think about it, Gabe and Joe commissioned Nick to scan the computers. He figures out who the whistleblower is, and then just decides to quit and pursue a non-profit career.
Games and porn.
Without telling Saber who done it.
And I still don't know who the real Spartacus is. And that is what makes that movie a classic whodunit.
Which doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? So we have 3 options. Either there's stuff left on the cutting room floor, this was just kind of shoddy writing, or it's part of this Godfather motif that's underneath the surface of this episode. For example, Dwight says,
Make them an offer they can't refuse.
and then,
I'm not dumb. I'm smart.
and then there's this whole thing about talking about business outside the family, secret meetings, alliances.
The Bernards, for generations, have silenced whistleblowers. That's how we made all our money.
So all of this to say that I'm not quite saying that Andy paid Nick off to quit his job.
But I did.
It's there. That's in the subtext.
I would bring a strong financial contribution.
In other news, let's talk about who Dwight still wants fired. Just to help you out, that's everyone in the office. I'm not sure what the numbers mean, but probably some sort of scoring system that Dwight's devised.
Give me control, Michael.
And I love this conversation he has with Joe.
Are you referring to alchemy?
And out of this one little bit births an entire hook for next season.
Buy property. That's my advice.
Oh, shoot. Got it.
Dwight Schrute.
Property you're looking at is in great shape.
Cancel it. I want you to make an offer at 1725 Slough Avenue. Lowball them. Don't call me till you have it.
But
Which is a thing. And really, like always, let's get back to Michael. He's vetted by Joe.
What do you think I should do with him?
We should give him a one-way ticket to Montego Bay, where they keep all the Al-Qaeda.
He gains the intel.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know what to do. Do I go tell Joe or?
I couldn't help it. It is so boring where we work. I mean, it's as interesting as a morgue. It might be less interesting than a morgue.
Hey, it's as interesting as a morgue.
Then he tries to get the culprits off scot-free.
We make them come to work, and we work them.
Michael Scott. What do you know?
What?
But Joe takes him to the airport.
Are you gonna kill me?
And they sit in their jet. And this scene has so much happening. I'm gonna get to the nuance of this during the deeper meaning, but there is a moment once the tension breaks that is such a layered joke. I had to break it down. This line is amazing.
Honey, surely you don't want that.
I surely do, and don't call me honey.
This line is amazing. It's a reference to an external source.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
It's a layered in reference.
Surely you cannot be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Airplane. I want you to get ultra-white cardstock.
Are you serious?
Yes, and don't call me Shirley.
Michael's joke is provoked by Joe's use of Shirley in her sentence, which Michael picks up on, and then either cleverly or incidentally subverts the expected reference of Don't Call Me Shirley and says,
I surely do, and don't call me honey.
Which Joe credits to him as a humorous take on that reference, which I think Michael actually made on accident, confirmed by citing the wrong movie.
Airplane too.
All of this is sitting on top of the nuance of what just happened between the two of them on the plane. This is extremely clever writing, and so well delivered by Carell.
I miss Holly.
Who's Holly?
Holly Flax, from the Nashua branch. Best HR rep that Dunder Mifflin has ever seen.
It's such a shame. We all know what that means, but we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about Carell's tenure with the series moving forward. But for now, I'm just dying to talk about the rest of that airplane sequence.
What does a bean mean?
Someone please explain it to Cap.
Okay, so for this section, I normally dive into some pseudo-psychology or relationship thing or some allegory this episode poses, and there's probably all that stuff in this episode. But I really wanted to spend time analyzing the deeper angles of this airplane sequence to see what's really happening here. This is a finale, and as I alluded to in the intro, The Office tends to pull out all the stops for their finales. So it stands to reason that this airplane sequence is intended to have some oomph.
All right.
But I never really feasted on it until I was prepping for this review. More than any conversation between two platonic characters in the series, this sequence feels like a play.
So peaceful. I've already written like 12 plays today.
They're in a secluded space, away from all distractions, away from the things that make them them. And these actors, seemingly effortlessly,
It should just come about effortlessly.
bring out so much energy to manifest some incredible character work.
Talk! Just talk! Shut up!
On the surface, we have the tip of the iceberg, which is just an angry boss trying to get an answer about who should be in trouble for being the whistleblower.
For no damn good reason! I came up here with a big problem, and now I got a branch manager who's giving me the silent treatment. Speak.
And that works, but underneath the surface, there's a lot happening here. So let's do a play-by-play. So Joe's figured out that Michael knows more than he's letting on.
It doesn't matter what I know.
If it doesn't matter, then tell me.
Why?
Because I want to deal with it the way I deal with it. That's the anus they check.
Joe's definitely slow playing him, refusing to speak first.
Tactic number 6. Change the location of the meeting at the last second. Totally throws him off. I am declining to speak first.
Which Michael can't shut up.
I have an early dinner that I need to get to with the chief of police.
So once she begins the process, Michael then stonewalls her.
Michael,
I have rights.
let's just talk.
I am not going to tell you anything.
But she shifts her approach and tone. She begins to relate to Michael in the way that he relates to his coworkers.
Mama Joe knew there was something up.
Referring to herself as a mother figure ensures that Michael sees this exchange as relational and not business.
Business is always personal. It's the most personal thing in the world.
Well, you know what I mean. She continues to empathize as Michael exposits on how things have really been going for him.
It's not been a blockbuster year for me financially. My Blockbuster stock is down. My favorite restaurant closed down.
Oh, I hate that.
And my new favorite restaurant sucks.
And if you listen to the subtext here, Michael's telling Joe that he's struggling with the fact that he's not where he wants to be, and that he's not who he wants to be. And she begins to gain more and more details about what's eating at Michael.
Who's Holly?
Now, I don't know exactly at which point she's decided this, but Joe pivots here, forsaking the witch hunt, and begins to mirror the exact same sentiments back to Michael. So in other words, Michael confessed that he's not where he wants to be in life, and then she confesses that she's not really where she wants to be in life.
Nobody will want to play with my Barbie.
And then this happens.
Well, you know, I would be willing, under the right circumstances, to do that for you.
Oh, honey, surely you don't want that.
So that's the play-by-play. A couple things I'd like to discuss here. Leave your thoughts in the comments about what's going on. Joe's been shown to be confident and ruthless, so I don't personally read this as she's having a real heart-to-heart with Michael that just happens to result in her having less public shame. Instead, she's isolated Michael with a power play, she's triggered his anxiety with temporary silence, she's softened him up to get him to reveal what really matters to him, then she mirrors his sentiments in order to relate, and at the end of it, Michael takes a PR bullet for her.
At this time, we are issuing a full recall of all Sabre GH400 printers.
Tell me I'm wrong, but Joe hardcore manipulated Michael in this entire sequence. I think she has some respect for Michael
RESPCT
for refusing to give up someone under his management to take a bullet. But Michael's going to have to pay for that nobility. And she could just order him to do the press conference, or, she could fire him. But I think she has the business prowess, the acumen, if you will, to say, you know what? I think I can have my cake and eat it too.
You'll learn, baby. You'll learn.
She can make him think that this is his idea in the first place.
Yes, it's Michael's idea that he forced on me on threat of death.
Thank you!
And she can accomplish having a fulfilled manager and productive branch and avoid the PR hit. It's really win-win-win.
Win-win.
Win.
And that's probably just one way to read it.
Write your own damn novel.
But for all of her people reading, the one thing she didn't gather about Michael yet is he's prepped for a crisis like this.
Crime and Squaw, FNC, double time.
Crime and Squaw?
Crisis Management Squad.
FNC, double time?
Front and center, twice as fast as you would normally go.
And he's ready to go now.
There will be no questions. Are there any questions?
In the end, his loyalty to his people and her actually does seem to win her over. Which leads to this line.
Hey, you can transfer Holly back from Nashua.
Let me see what I can do.
And oh boy, we're gonna talk about that next week. But for now, let's rate this thing.
This is the worst.
All right, we've arrived at the finale of season 6.
Bum, 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 bum.
But really the wrap up is next week. That's where we're gonna break down the major arcs, the themes, and all the stuff you people think I got wrong.
What do you mean by these people?
For all of season 6. It's gonna be fun, make sure you tune in. But let's start with the cold opening of Whistleblower.
Count me in as who cares.
It's functional, it's fun, and I think they made a mistake.
And then I call Froggy 98.7, their request line. I talked to the host about it on the air.
And Michael's acting like most new content creators do.
I would like you all to go to the website and watch my clip 11 times.
And then we get to see that subtle conflict in his eyes when he's comparing himself to the otter video in the background.
It's not even that interesting, a baby otter. It can't even stand up. It's trying to stand up.
You know, I read from one of the editors of The Office that they used to get like 8 completely different takes from Carell. Each one would be subtly or totally different, and sometimes they had no idea which one to even go for.
Or that the sport doesn't exist? I should have known. Poop ball. Or that the sport doesn't exist? I should have known. Poop ball?
Such a master of his trade. But I give this one a 3 out of 5. It's fine.
I saw you on the news and I want to pinch your tiny wiener. It's Packer.
Oh, Pac-Man, I thought you were a girl.
But for the Whistleblower episode itself, it's hard to separate how I feel about this arc from how I feel about this episode. But my main complaint with this episode is that it feels rushed. It's comedy galore though, with jokes between the jokes. There's hidden stuff like watching Andy get squeamish when the whistleblower concept is first brought up.
Put your hand up, Norma Ray.
If you see anything, so help me God, I'll break off the temples of your glasses and stick them in your eye sockets.
There's a sense of pride that we could feel when Michael's standing up for his people. There's drama, there's heartache, and there's hope. It's undeniably a good episode of The Office, and maybe the last time I'm gonna do this, I don't know, I'm having fun with it. But here's an actual IMDb review. This finale was boring and hardly funny at all. I liked the concept of this episode, but it really felt poorly executed in a bad or maybe even lazy way. 7 out of 10 stars.
7 out of 10 attacks are from the rear.
This isn't a paper you're writing in college. You're just not giving it a 70%. It's not pass, fail, that kind of thing. Giving it 7 out of 10 means that this is 3 stars away from the best content that's ever been created on the surface of this planet. But I think I know what's happening here. It's a mixture of audience expectations of antics driven by the stress relief effect. And you know, there's something to be said about having too much of a good thing. If you eat delicious waffles every single day, sooner or later, your attitude evolves from holy cow, this is amazing, to knowing that it's good, but you're not really vibing with it.
Michael,
this is so disgusting.
Stop eating it.
That's how this guy can write this review with almost nothing good to say about it. Even call it lazy. Just to give it 3/10 away from the best score possible underneath the sun.
Shut up about the sun! Shut up about the sun!
So clearly I disagree with this guy. Otherwise I wouldn't have spent so much time playing with that one airplane scene. As an episode, I really like this a lot. As a finale, with all of the expectations wrapped up in that, I gotta say it kind of falls flat. It feels rushed with a shoddy plotline, and it feels like there should be more stakes, but there are no consequences. There's hooks, but they're relatively meaningless in the grand scope of the series. As an episode, I give it a 4 out of 5. As a finale, I'd probably give it a 1 out of 5.
Joe, I think that I know what happened.
I'm not sure you do, Teddy Bear.
Well, now I think I might not.
But that's all I have to say about the Whistleblower episode. Come back next week when we wrap up the whole season 6 together. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to all these people for supporting the channel. And we'll see you next time.
Well, it doesn't make me the worst guy in the world, either.
It does!